Did anyone watch Vinland Saga anime and think to themselves, if only Kingdom anime was like this? This is the origin that will lead to Olsen's grand victory. You would think his first move will be amazing, or above anything we have seen in this series. The latter choice would be correct, technically speaking, because what we are witnessing is the most basic formation of all time. After this chapter, I now find it horrifying and astounding. It's still laughable, but its meaning has altered. Allow me to admire the chapter's cover for a bit. That helmet has a badass design and is rightfully worn by the badass Supreme Commander. I can look at it all day with its nice details that oozes the aura of a monster. I don't know how Osa looks like without it, but whatever he has a silly one-piece design or not, that mask certainly complements the overall design. The first 2 pages are pretty funny for one reason: overestimation. The last chapter had Olsen's commanders wondering why the formation is pure basic, lined up in an orderly fashion. Regardless, they don't buy the fact Olsen will stoop this low, and so they proceed to rethink about the possibilities. Fute is being a cocky prick as of late. He's really begging for a massive slap in the face of reality, but that's okay. It makes the backfire ever more so great. After countless speculations, it all goes down to one phrase: what you see is what you get. The clash is the most formal of them all. They're literally lined up and attack. One row falls, another comes next. It looks ridiculous. 1 is so basic. 2, the fact this series has gone through crazier formation that wowed us. The least expected army to pull this would have been a Supreme Commander. Well, here we are, watching what could have been a boring advertisement to the series. At least the action is extremely easy to follow, so there's a bright spot, if you could call it that. Even during the engagement, it's so plain that men just die without limbs flying, crazy tricks, and so on. I'm not asking to be flashy, but the idea is, the formation isn't going to change anything. That's one part Olsen attended to. In the midst of the basic battle of all time, the result is interesting. In the last chapter, Ribaco army was overwhelming Olsen's army with a sneaky tactic. Olsen responded by playing with none, which resulted to a dead even match. It's like whoever have the most men in their army wins. What's laughable is how the Great Crane formation was designed with brilliance and insightful. Olsen countered it with no brain required. The smart part about it, ironically, is that because of Olsen's army not doing anything, the battle automatically fixed to evenly split. That's a slap to Ribaco's face if I ever seen one. The most surprising aspect of the chapter is Olsen, because he actually talks a lot, more than all the dialogues in the previous chapters combined. Needless to say, he's pretty insightful. He talks about grasping something, so a man moves his hand, but almost at the same time, the shoulder moves. Why does that matter? Because his point is about the origin. So with the body example, he's saying that the movement starts from somewhere rather than the hand. There's a more important and fascinating detail behind it, however. The reason he brought it up is because Ribaco army are highly trained to detect their enemies' movements and expressions. Sounds familiar? I like how it builds the suspense for the most fascinating reveal that Olsen noticed, because it is rather unheard of. You could say it's a next step to what to expect in the future battles of the series. Bottom line, it's because these men were trained with a mindset of instinctual type commanders. That's quite mind-blowing. Ribaco is an instinctual type but strategical. However, he learned it from the Correlation War. It was his clash with Duke Hyo that taught him what it means to be as one. All of a sudden, this arc is confirmed as a direct sequel. That's pretty awesome. In short, Ribaco learned it from Duke and implemented it to his men. Thus, a hybrid army was born. It's like this series has found its way to create its own hybrid type without resorting to science like many other series. Kudos to Hara. With all that said, this does paint Rebiko as a serious threat, and a convincing one at that. When you have Olsen praising him, calling him a monster, you know Rebiko is legit. In his term, how can you defeat a monster? Have a bigger monster, of course. Could you imagine if the battle is left the way it is? It would have been incredibly predictable. Ray wasn't having it, so he employed his tactics to overwhelm. The funny thing is, Olsen's formation is practically begging for the enemy to make a move to change the tide. It's like a Pokemon battle where both sides use Harden every time. Someone has to go offense to change. This should be an easy win for Rebiko, right? Well, this is where my favorite part comes in. It is one thing Olsen mocked Rebiko's tactic with a plain move. It's another when unusual commands come to play. It is hilarious yet amazing how every command for Olsen spread to his men and every one of them reacts with confusion. The best part is, it works perfectly. So much so, the battle is now in Olsen's favor. I could imagine these guys might be thinking, oh wow, it worked! Once again, Olsen is breathtaking. Insert meme here. What's amazing is how Olsen quickly reads it on the fly, not a sight of fear. It's even better that he now sees the origin. Thus, he can adapt and counter it like he knows the formation all too well. That's why the origin is emphasized throughout. Once you see it, you know the rest. This is genius. This brings a different outlook of reading your enemy. The look on Rebiko's face says it all. This was satisfying. This chapter made Olsen a bona fide monster that can bring new surprises that not even his own men can understand. He used big words to explain, but he had my attention completely, and soon enough, I was astounded. While he credited Rebiko for developing his army into a special hybrid that could have been a serious challenge, Olsen is not the man to challenge. He not only made a basic move incredible, but he's conquering a brilliant mind with ease. Rebiko is now in danger. It's not the end yet, but the sight is visible. The real monster is coming. And that will do it for the review. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm convinced whenever old Sensei Ho is check and soon checkmate. That's how I read it from him, and I'm sticking to it. What do you think of this chapter? Will Rebiko counter without the use of Hoken? Share your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel, and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.